Hey everybody, this is Doa, and today we're going to watch a video of basically my common TvZ opening. This is another edition of Breaking the Caster Curse, and these last couple editions of that, or episodes I guess you could say, we've been kind of going over my, right now anyway, my current standard opening against each race. Now, I want to say one thing first, is that, yes, I'm playing a Zerg player on Steps of War. I'm always a little bit surprised when I meet up a Zerg player on Steps of War on the ladder, because really, if I was a Zerg player, I would totally downvote it, because it really is a very, very difficult map for Zergs to win on. And actually, what I've started to do is ask Zergs to try to do the 12 drone rush against me when I meet up with one on this map. And the reason for that isn't to be BM or anything like that. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. The reason for that is because I've seen a lot of games of pro players doing that at the very high level and winning with it. I've seen Maro do it, I've seen Idra do it, and I want to try to defend against that. So I asked them to do it. I have not had any takers quite yet, but I'm hoping someday some Zerg will give it a try against me, and I'll see if I've got the micro that it takes to defend it. I kind of doubt I do, actually, just because it is a very strong rush. So apparently my opponent, Ju, however he pronounces it, apparently he hasn't heard of the rush, so I'm trying to kind of give him an idea of what it is, I guess, and don't think he's going to try it here. But so basically, yeah, that's explaining that silly little chat you can see in the bottom of the screen. So basically, you're going to see my common TvZ opening, and that is the 2 barracks pressure. In casting a lot of TvZs and seeing a lot of different openings against Zerg, right now I think especially in very close positions like you have on a map like Steps of War, there is no more effective opening than the 2 racks. You can see I'm also getting gas though. And that the reason for that is because I'm not going for like a really heavy 2 racks. I do want to put pressure on my opponent, but I also want to start getting gas because I'm going to go into a siege tanks a little bit quicker. So, and I'm not quite sure if that's really the correct way to do it, but that's kind of the habit that I've fallen into in my TvZ. And to be honest with you, I really feel like TvZ is by far my worst matchup right now. There is no other matchup in StarCraft 2 that I feel more uncomfortable in and feel more just like ugh through the entire game. I get distracted. I don't really know what to do in a lot of situations, and so I'd like to kind of remedy that. Now, this game, I know I already have a pretty decent advantage because of the map. I can get my Marines to his base extremely quickly. Tanks later in the game I know are going to be very effective because of the cliffs in the map, and again, the grass in the map that covers that one area that you can kind of cut vision off of. And then, of course, also with the short rush distance, again, from getting to my base to his base, it's very, very quickly for you to rush up on a Zerg on this map, obviously. So my opponent, going for a pretty standard opening, he did go hatch before pool, which is a bit bold on this map, as you can see here, but he's going to try to make it work, so we're going to have to see how successfully he is at that. We can see my SCV moving around there. You saw me set a lot of rally points there too. Oh, here's another example of it. This is something that is bad to do. I should not be doing that. I should be good enough that I can micro my SCV, maybe set 2 or 3 rally points, keep an eye on what's going on at the base, and then at the same time macro up a force to go and do this with. The fact that I'm having to set all those rally points basically says I'm not quite there yet. So that's something I'm going to need to work on here too. And there was something I was going to mention, and I completely forgot about it. But yeah, so if you go back in time a little bit, I did 2 other videos basically detailing my TVT opening and my TVP opening right now. And so this cast really isn't about the game itself. It's more about my opening and then my meager attempts to transition out of that into some semblance of a mid-game. And that's kind of where I struggle. But we might go after that in more Breaking the Caster Curse episodes. Now, as you can see, my Zerg opponent has gotten maybe a little bit greedy in terms of the drones he's produced. He might not be ready for this type of pressure yet. Keep in mind that this is in the Platinum League, so it's not quite as high level. The Platinum League, I've noticed, is a league where a lot of players are really trying a lot of different things. They're trying to, learn about the game. As you can see too, I'm only putting up 1 bunker. I'm not really going really heavy on the Marines there. I've kind of stopped producing them at this point. He's making a lot of Zerglings to try to defend this. but just between the bunker and the Marines, I do lose my repairing SCV, so a little bit of mismanagement there on my part. He's just not really able to handle it right now because he produced quite a lot of drones early on. And again, just because it's Steps of War, that rush gets there so quickly. I'm actually really happy that they're not going to have this map in GSL or anything like that anymore, just because I don't like a map that does give an advantage to one player or another. And as far as that goes, that 12 drone rush that we were talking about a little bit earlier, I really think that's probably one of the most effective things that Zergs can do on the map. Idra, even when he did in his game, said as he was winning, sorry, it's the map. So, you know, I mean, Idra, of course, yeah, BM Idra, blah, blah. But, I mean, it's effective. So, you know, hopefully more Zerg players start doing that if they get stuck having to play on Steps of War. Now, as you can see, he did push back my aggression with the Banelings. That's perfectly fine. That's actually planned. It looks like I haven't reset my rally points just yet. Whoops, a little bit of a mismanagement by me again here. And this is kind of a reason why I watch these games as well, to kind of watch for things like that I can improve in the future here. Now he sent some Banelings in there, a little bit of a misclick on his part as well. You can see I've still got a couple Marines streaming across the map there. I kind of just let him go at this point. I figure I can kind of watch for an expansion. Keep an eye on what exactly he's planning on doing. I'm expanding myself. I'm feeling pretty safe in this situation. I'm getting my tanks, getting siege mode. And, oh, that reminds me, too, some people are complaining, I guess, or commenting, rather, about the lack of the production tab in these Breaking the Caster Curse casts. And the idea behind that is really just because I want you guys to see what I'm seeing as I play the game. I don't get to see the production tab, so the decisions I make on that can't really be based on me seeing, oh, I'm not making SCVs, I have to do that. I have to remember it in my head when to make those SCVs. So as you can see, I'm scouting a little bit, looking for that second hatchery. I see a lot of Lings coming out, so I'm guessing that he might just be going for sort of an all-in Baneling bust to try to end the game right now, which really, I mean, after you lose your hatchery on Steps of War as a Zerg player, it's very, very, very difficult to stay in the game. So that decision, I would say, is perfectly reasonable. And as you can see, being the wonderful player that I am, not even salvaging my bunkers, because hey, you know, if I salvaged those bunkers, my minerals would go up, and then it would look like my spending was bad. So let's just let those die. That's perfectly fine. Keep the money low by letting the bunkers die. Great idea. Excellent play, Doa. So as you can see here, oh, I also only have one SCV in gas. That's not good. Okay, there we go, and I'm finally putting some in there. Alright, so hey, noticing more things in general here. I haven't gotten supply blocked. Good for me there. He did take out those bunkers. He's pulling back. I can kind of make a pretty safe assumption that he's probably making some Banelings right outside my base right now. I can't see it, but I can kind of assume it. He is blocking my command center from landing with a Zergling. That's perfectly fine. I'm not really interested in landing it right now anyway. Just kind of setting some tanks up into position. And the idea here is that I'd kind of prefer that he would attack into my tanks. You know, Marine tank is a pretty, I would say, easy composition to play. Now, I personally, I feel, have a really hard time managing tanks right now. I actually don't like siege tanks. I think they're slow, they're not fun to use, but they are such an integral component in a lot of Terran strategies that I'm really forcing myself to use them more often, especially in TvZ. As a Marine tank right now is pretty effective against Zerg players in general, especially the ones that end up going mutiling. As you can see, I just by reflex from playing a lot of Zerg players, I'm putting up turrets. Now, logically thinking about that, I can think, if I really take the time to kind of ponder it, he's probably not going to be going mutalisks because he's only on one base as far as I know. Now I'm lolling there a little bit because he was sending in one Ling at a time, causing my tanks to shoot my own command center. So a nice little trick there on Jew's part. Nice job there. And yeah, so here's where I make a really stupid decision. I decide to send my command center to the farthest away island, quote-unquote, expansion on Steps of War. It is blocked off by rocks, of course, so I'm pretty safe to assume that he can't break through it. Why I don't send it to the closer island, I have no idea. Why I'm even sending it anywhere, I have no idea. At this point, as you can see, I'm kind of trying to bait him to run his Lings and Banelings into my tank fires. He takes the bait, runs it in there, and all his Lings die very, very quickly. I do lose a supply depot. My barracks is on fire, but overall it's not too bad. I'm a little bit supply blocked, but that's not really a huge concern right now. And so now I can make a pretty safe assumption again, knowing that he's on one base, that I can kind of move all out. Notice that I am pulling some SCVs, but that's just really to repair that barracks, and then I'm going to send him on to repair my tanks throughout the fight, so I'm not really going all in or anything like that. But at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident that I can probably end the game pretty quickly at this point. He's moving in more Lings and maybe a little bit of a misclick there as well. But so yeah, now I'm kind of moving in. Whoa! I dropped my sound deadening stuff all over my microphone. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna set up the sound paneling again. It's gonna be perfectly fine. There we go. All right. Oh, I do have some sound paneling that I set up around my computer area just to kind of deaden the echo from the room noise. All kind of boring caster stuff, of course, but it makes my voice sound so silky smooth. Yeah. But I don't know if that worked or not. If that didn't sound sexy, it might have just sounded creepy. You be the judge. Tell me in the comments. No, don't tell me in the comments. Well, you can if you want to. Anyway, SCV's coming in to repair those tanks. Stimming in a couple Marines to kind of see what he's got. I do see that he has expanded. You can see the blue square on the mini-map right there. I'm going to move my mouse pointer because that is annoying that that's popping up there. And as you can see, I'm building a few medevacs as well, going to do some healing on the Marines and also give some vision to my siege tanks at the same time. Building some more supply depots. I'm trying not to get supply blocked there, but the energy on my command centers is getting pretty high here. I scan just to kind of see what he's got. This is also going to help me take out some creep tumors as well. I want him to attack me with banelings, but I don't want him to be able to really get to my Marines. Stim has finished as well. Baneling right there. So right now, again, I'm just trying to lure the force out. I know it's there somewhere, and there's the force right now. I stim to run away. I lose quite a few Marines, but I do manage to pull the rest of those units into the siege tank fire. He does lose his basically entire army again, and there's really nothing keeping me from killing the hatchery yet again. So, you know, again, right from the get-go, this Zerg player was in a very, very difficult spot. You know, I don't want to give the impression that I'm casting this game to be BM or something and be like, ha ha ha, my Marine tank beat the Zerg, look how good I am. Because honestly, it's really, really tough for Zerg on this map. It is, and I feel that. This is purely just to kind of show the typical opening I'm going against Zerg with right now, and then just to kind of also illustrate for the newer players that may not know, just kind of the general idea behind Marine tank, that you use the Marines to lure the other units in range of your siege tanks. As you can see too, I've got my engineering bay out. I'm getting some upgrades for my bio as well. So yeah, again, no BM intended towards the Zerg players. I feel your pain. I'm looking forward to when Steps of War is just an unhappy memory for all of you. I did play random for a long time. I was a Zerg player in Brood War, so I understand what's going on here, so please don't get the wrong impression. As you can see now, right now, this is another thing I've been practicing, is kind of trying to move in with kind of a stable tank push. As you can see, he's attacking with more Zerglings right now, possibly thinking that's the only tank I have. More SCVs doing some repairing here. So right now, feeling very confident, moving just a couple tanks in at a time. I know I've probably got the game won at this point, but one problem that I've had in my games is I get over-eager, just rush in and try to end the game, and I want to try to wean myself off of that. So even though I feel like I've got this game won, I'm trying to be very methodical about moving in right now. So now I move in with my Marines. I feel it's pretty safe, and he does leave the game as soon as he sees that, of course, because at this point there really isn't a whole lot that he can do to stop that army. So yeah, that's just kind of a little TvZ, unfortunately on Steps of War. And that kind of concludes my short series on the openings that I'm doing in most cases right now in my games. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to use one opening against a race on every map, on every position on every map. But I feel like it's good to get an opening that you're comfortable with, and then just kind of build off of that and have maybe another opening in reserve, you know, in case you end up. For me, if I'm on a really far away position from an opponent on a map, I usually use a different opening than the one I use, although in TVT I can still do the tank drop. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing this. There's definitely going to be a lot more Breaking the Caster Curse in the future, as of course comments, criticisms, Zerg tiers, just kidding, are welcome. I love you, Zerg guys. So yeah, that is basically it. If you like it, please subscribe. In the meantime, keep playing StarCraft 2, guys, and I will see you on the next cast.